Fire teacher on the front line, spitting raw flame. Uncut truth of the Most High, putting fakes to shame. Slicing through the deception when he crack open the book. Snatching back the captive souls the false shepherd took. Smashing up sorcery, burning every spell. Tarot cards and witchcraft cast straight to hell. Leveling no culture, stripping off the shame. No more walking in the mud, playing Satan's game. Drop the cup of poison, leave the filth behind. True repentance, bringing fire back into your mind. Clean out the temple, smash shadows on the shelf. Turn back to the Most High and examine yourself. Turn the truth up, no more lies, no more darkness. Wake up and hear the word of the Most High. Fire teacher on the floodline, spitting raw flame. Uncut truth of the Most High, putting fakes to shame. Slicing through the deception when you crack open the book. Snatching back the captive souls a false shepherd took. Smashing up sorcery, burning every spell. Tarot cards and witchcraft cast straight to hell. Leveling no culture, stripping off the shame. No more watching in the mud, playing Satan's game. Drop the cup of poison, leave the filth behind. True repentance, bring fire back into your mind. Clean out the temple, smash shadows on the shelf. Turn back to the Most High and examine yourself. The clock is ticking, judgment dropping on the ground. You better stand firm before the final trumpet sound. Wash in the holy fire, break away the shame. Prepare for the kingdom, glorify His name. The King is returning, yeah, the King, burning on the clouds with every majesty. All power and the glory cracking through the sky. Every knee bowing to the Son of the Most High. The King of Kings, He is the King, every chain. Look out, the fallen wood gold, trapped inside confusion. Tarot reading witches, living deep in an illusion. Glorifying lust, selling souls for the gain. But the fire teacher, bringing truth through the pain. Repentance is the key, turn away from the sin. Keep the commandments if you wanna enter in. No sorcerer, no witch, no hypocrite dance. When the wrath of the Most High hits across the lands. Stand on the precept, put it in the light. We put it down darkness, stepping in the light. The clock is ticking, judgment jumping on the ground. You better stand firm before the final trumpet. Wash in the holy fire, break away the shame. Prepare for the kingdom, glorify His name. Every chain, the King, the King of Israel, all glory to the Most High. The King returns, the King returns. Now, dear.
Listen up, order in the house of the Most High. No more worldly ways, no more walking in darkness. The fire teacher, bring the word to set the standard. Fire teacher open scripture, standing firm in the light, teaching daughters of the kingdom how to walk and do right, throwing out the modern garbage, tossing out the deceit, laying down the holy precepts right at your feet. Silent sisters cover up, put the modesty on, leave the hypersexualized trap out on the lawn. No more running through the streets, selling out for a check, giving body, heart and soul without receiving respect. Stop sleeping around with every man, mud in the block. Build your house upon the spirit, grounded firm on the rock. True beauty ain't the flesh, it's the spirit within. Clean your life, turn away and repent of the sin. Throw away the worldly noise, step into the light, dressing in the holy law, walking in the might. When the fire teachers speak, truth is in the sound, setting up the righteous standard on the holy ground. Virtuous and modest and pure in the spirit. When the word of the Most High speaks, the righteous God hear it. Submissive in the truth, that's where real power lies. Walking like a daughter of the ruler of the skies. Pure and white, no more running in the street. Virtuous woman making Satan's realm face to feet. Look at Proverbs 31, see the blueprint laid down. A virtuous woman is her husband's holy crown. Submissive to the order that the Most High decree, bringing peace to the home, planting righteous seed. Not loud and stubborn, not chasing after the cloud, knowing what a daughter of the King is about. Guarding up her temple, keeping honor intact. When you step into the truth, ain't no turning back. Fire teacher brought the flame, burning all of the lies. Open and up the scriptures right before your eyes. Stand tall in the modesty, put the righteous garments on. The darkness is departed and the holy light is dawn. Throw away the holy noise, step into the light, dressing in the holy law, walking in the might. When the fire teacher big, truth is in the sound, setting up the righteous standard on the holy ground. Virtuous and modest and pure in the spirit. When the word of the Most High speaks, the righteous gonna hear it. Submissive in the truth, that's where real power lies. Walking like a daughter of the ruler of the skies. Pure little walk, no more running in the deep. Virtuous woman making Satan's realm face to feet. Face slowly fading, envy and sin trailing off to gain this order. Virtue, modesty through the word of the Most High. All praises to the Most High.
Dark piano, deep slide, 808, heavy bounce, slow rhythm, fast, high amps, happy, bad, yeah. Look around, words fully corrupt, they chasing paper that's gonna burn. I'm stacking something that lasts forever. The fire teacher in the pocket, all praises to the Most High. Wicked world, watching how the serpent try to slither. Stacking spirit currency, not concerned with all the glitter. These niggas chasing paper, God selling out for profit. That ain't eternal wealth, you can't take it in your coffin. I see the ops clearly, they serving vanity and lies. Lucid illusion, while the spirit inside dies. If you bow to the culture, then you enemy the truth. I'm standing on the precepts, bringing fire to the youth. They're calling back, chasing power, but it's fake momentum. We stacking wisdom and commandments, that's the real possession. Yahawashi at that helm, so I walk without fear. Surviving in the darkness, cause the light is right here. Stacking spiritual currency, if we ain't focused on the cloud. While these ops serve the world, we taking another route. Surviving in the dark, yeah, we keeping spirit fed. They slave to the system, but we breaking off the lair. The Most High's treasury, that's the real bank line. Niggas serving Satan's kingdom, running out of time. Stacking spiritual currency, we ain't focused on the cloud. All praise to Yahawashi. We taking another ride, spending gold life, flexing for a world that's passing away. Trading immortality for money made of clay. If you locked into the flesh, they ain't standing with the ops. The fire teacher stepping in the bring it to a stop. We building up the spirit while the wicked structure crumbles. Only righteous men inherit, and the heavy thunder rumbles. Keep your eyes on the legend that is written up on high. Every precept, every law is an asset in the sky. Ain't no compromise with darkness, ain't no sitting on the fence. Serving Yahawashi in the spirit, that's the real defense. Stacking spiritual currency in the ain't focused on the cloud. Why these hops of the world keep taking another route? Surviving in the dark and we'll keep the spirits fed. They're slaves to the system, but we breaking up for lead. The most high's treasury, that's a real bank. I niggas serving Satan's kingdom, running out of time. Stacking spiritual currency when you focus on the cloud. All places to Yahawashi, we're taking all around. Spiritual out over material destruction. Yo, who the real ops are? The fire teacher. Stay sharp, stay vigilant, stay dangerous. All praises to the Most High.
What's going on, Facebook family, YouTube family? We're gonna be getting started pretty soon, y'all. Y'all just bear with me for a second.
Yeah. Light in the darkness. They thought the night would cover. The fire teacher in the building, bringing pure heat, pure truth. All praises to the Most High. Listen. Walking through the shadows where the wicked try to creep, while the whole world falling into a heavy sleep. I step onto the block with the sword of the word, proclaiming every decree that the nations haven't heard. Call me the fire teacher, burning through the lies, exposing Satan's kingdom right before their very eyes. Principalities tremble when the heat gets turned. Every trick of the opponent bound to get burned. We ain't bending, we ain't folding to the culture of the day. Standing firm in Yahweh, walking in the narrow way. Light shining vicious through the pitch black night, destroying every dark plot, setting what is right. Serving the Most High in a dark world, yeah. Fire in my spirit, let the whole truth flare. Satan's ops falling, we tear the kingdom down. Only righteousness reach the holy ground. No lust, no greed, no immoral disease. In the kingdom of Yahweh, we on holy knees. Serving the Most High in a dark world, yeah. Standing in the truth, ain't.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Shalom, shalom, shalom. I want to first and foremost give all honor, glory, and praises to the Most High. And we do so in the name of His Son, the Anointed King. Some say Yeshua, some say Yahawashi, but we give all praise, to the Most High through His Son, right? So, look at the world around you right now, right? You got false teachers and soft preachers. Again, you got false teachers and soft preachers. They have lulled the masses into a deadly passive delusion, right? They have painted a sweet, sanitized, weak picture, a quiet cloud, a gentle smile, and a peaceful transition where the rebellious get a pass, right? The rebellious, they pretty much get a get out of jail free card in this world, right? They have lied to you. When the heavens tear open, it will not be peace, right? There will not be safety. It will be absolute, violent, horrific execution of divine rage. The atmosphere is instantly ignite into liquid fire. I don't know if you're ready for that. Liquid fire, right? The skies will smoke like a mega furnace, and the crust of the earth will be soaked in the boiling blood of the rebellious. The streets will run red, choked with the scorched, disemboweled, rotting corpse of those who thought they could defy the Almighty, Most High, right? So Yahawashi, some say Yeshua, right? is not returning as a humble lamb to be mocked, tortured, or nailed to a tree again, right? He is returning as the conquering king and executioner, clothed in nightmare inducing power, drenched in the blood of his enemies and executing the raw, unbridled fury of his father, Yahweh. Every kingdom of this earth will be crushed into dust. Russia, Germany, right? China, all these places, all these kingdoms, these regimes will be turned into dust, right? Every proud ruler, politician, military leader, and arrogant sinner will drop to their knees in sheer hysterical panic, right? They'll be clawing at the bare dirt, wishing they had never been born. This is the day we're talking about, family. And I got to really, really illustrate this day, right? So it can at least scare somebody on here, right? So this is not a drill. This is the catastrophic reality of his second coming. Before we strip away every lie and look directly into this global slaughterhouse, right? We must establish our foundation under the sole authority of Colossians chapter 3 and verse 17. And it reads, and whatsoever ye do in word or deed, do all by Sham Hamashiach Yahawashi, giving thanks to the Most High and the Father by Sham Hamashiach Yahawashi. So whatever is spoken or executed tonight is delivered strictly under the direct command and authority of the Messiah, our King. In the original Greek text, the word for name in this verse is anoma, right? Is anoma. And according to the Greek lexicon, I typically use theirs myself. Anoma, it signifies not just a spoken label, but the cause, reason, and sovereign authority of the person represented, right? So we do not present human opinion, smooth words, or emotional comfort here. This is not a class for you to feel comfortable, right? This message is declared under the full sovereign command and terrifying legal authority of our King, right? Giving all glory to the Father, right? The Most High, our Father, he gave his son a directive, right? So let's actually get into these scriptures. Actually, before we get into the scripture, right? The ancient decrees. I got to talk about ancient decrees. You must understand the exact framework of what you are going to hear tonight, right? The word eschatology, right? I always butcher the word, right? It comes from two Greek roots. Eschatos, meaning last or final or extreme, and logos, meaning word, decree, or instruction, right? So according to the Greek lexicon, eschatos is defined as the uttermost border, the end of temporal period. So it's the end of a time period, right? The final destiny of man and nation. So therefore, eschatological prophecy is not vague symbolism or creative storytelling. That's not what you're going to hear today. You're not going to hear some type of story, fable. You're going to hear direct truth coming straight from the scriptures, right? So it is pre-written, legal execution, a decree of the Most High detailing the final collapse of worldly empires, the physical return of our King, the utter destruction of the wicked, and the permanent establishment of the kingdom of the Most High on earth, right? Because that's where the kingdom of the Most High is going to be, here on earth, right? It is a divine history written before it happens, an unchangeable military timeline that cannot be altered by any human being, no type of politics, doctrines, or human tears, right? So let's go to our first verse. Let's go to the book of Isaiah. And if I can, Choke, if you can put the scriptures inside of the chat for me on box 1. Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 63, and let's go to verse 1. And welcome everybody on Facebook and YouTube. Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra, This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the winepress, in the winefat? I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me. For I will tread them in my anger and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment. For the day of vengeance is in my heart. So we see the day of our king's vengeance is inside of his mind. This is what he's thinking about doing. He's not thinking to come here on earth to give you hugs, kisses, and lollipops. That's not what he's coming to do. He's thinking of vengeance. He's thinking of blood. And the year of my redeemed is come. And I looked, and there was none to help. And I wondered that there was none to uphold. Therefore, my own arm brought salvation unto me, and my fury, it upheld me. So look at what scripture is establishing right here, right? Out of the gate, straight out of the gate. That's right. It does sound evil. It's going to be a dark day, 4053. It's going to be a dark day because straight out of the gate, right? Our king steps onto the global stage and he is drenched head to toe in human blood. Again, he is drenched from head to toe in human blood. Why are his garments crimson red? Right? That should be a question we ask ourselves. Because what we get inside of the Christian church is a lily white soft guy, right? That's kind to everyone. But in the scriptures here, it says he has garments that look like he was stuffing on some grapes in a wine press somewhere, right? So why is his garment drenched in blood? Because he has personally waded into the earth's war zone and stomped rebellious armies and rebellious people into liquid paste. This really has to come home, right? I have to really drive this home. He's going to stomp the rebellious into liquid paste, right? So picture this scene in your mind. Body snapping like twigs under his feet, organs bursting open, and hot blood spraying directly onto his robes. We're talking about the Messiah here, something you will never hear in your church, right? It said he tried the wine press alone. He did this by himself. Easy work, right? So, and he did this with absolute fury, right? No negotiations, no truce, and zero surrenders accepted. Right now is your time to surrender to the authority of our King right now by keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments. So now is the time to do that. When that sky cracks, it's going to be too late. It's going to be a total bloodbath. The long-awaited day of vengeance is locked in his heart. That's what the scripture says. Your heart is dealing with your mind. So he cannot wait to come down here and do damage, right? And it says, and his own arm is going to bring ruthless, bloody execution to every single soul that stood against him. So this is the time tonight to do a self-examination to see if you are standing against the Most High and against our King, or if you're standing with him. I know as for me and my household, appreciate you putting the scripture there, Chef, appreciate that. So I know as for me and my household, we're going to follow the Most High and follow his son, right? Let's read on to verse 6. And it says, and I will tread down the people in mine anger. So you see, he's furious. He's angry, right? This doesn't sound like some nice guy that's coming just to love and hug on you, right? Because a lot of people say, oh, I know Jesus. I know him. He's my Messiah. And he don't play about me, right? I hear people saying, oh, I'm blessed and highly favored, right? But we're going to see how blessed and highly favored you are when the Messiah comes back, right? Let me read that again. And I will tread down the people in my anger and make them drunk in my fury. And I will bring down their strength to the earth. I'm going to jump down to verse 15. And it reads, look down from heaven and behold, from the habitation of thy holiness and of thy glory, where is thy zeal and thy strength? The sounding of thy bowels of thy mercies towards me, are they restrained? That's a question right there. Verse 16. Doubtless thou art our father, though Abraham be ignorant of us and Israel acknowledge us not, thou, O Most High, art our father, our redeemer. Thy name is from everlasting, right? Let's jump over to the book of Revelation. Let's jump over to the book of Revelation, chapter 19, because we're going to tie all these scriptures together. Revelation chapter 19 and verse 11. And it reads, and I saw heaven open. So when the Messiah returns, everyone is going to see this. Everyone is going to see the heavens open, right? And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse. And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. And in righteousness he doth judge and make war. Again, he said he doth judge and make war. Verse 12. His eyes were as a flame of fire. So we see here in this scripture that the Messiah's eyes are like a flame of fire, and of his head were many crowns. When you're dealing with the flame of fire, you're dealing with war, destruction, buildings on fires, cars on fire, right? And on this crown were many, on his head were many crowns. These are the kingdoms and the nations that he's going to conquer when he returns. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. Now listen to this, family. Verse 13. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood. This is the same thing that we read in the book of Isaiah chapter 63. Him with that bloody garment on, right? And his name is called the Word of the Most High. Verse 14. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. So the terror escalates, right? Directly into the apocalyptic destruction. We're reading from Apocalypto. That's the book of Revelation, right? The book of Revelation, or Apocalypto, we're reading about the destruction that our king is going to bring when he returns for his second time, right? Our king literally stomps populations into the dirt until they stagger and vomit in their own ruin. Ask yourself, do you want to really get stumped out into a bloody pace? Because I know I don't want to do it. That I want to happen to myself, right? He's going to rupture the atmosphere surrounded by roaring, superheated, heavily war chariots that sweep across the sky like a wall of liquid fire. That's literally what we're going to see, right? So in the Hebrew text, right, the word for fury, and I'm chiefly talking about in the book of Isaiah chapter 66 and verse 15, is Shema. And if Polygyny King is on, correct me if I'm wrong. But the word for fury is Shema, right? And according to the Cassinius, because that's what I use, right? Shema is defined as a poison, hot, burning rage that completely consumes. A burning rage that completely consumes. That's what this thing is, right? So he arrives on a white war horse to wage open, merciless war, right? That's what he's going to do, right? So his sword will execute so many people that the entire globe becomes his personal butcher block. We all been to the grocery stores. We all seen people cutting up meat. Now imagine that, where the earth is his personal butcher block, right? Just dead, just body rotten, dead flesh everywhere, right? Let's go to the book of Second Ezra out of the Apocrypha. And for those that don't know, the Apocrypha is those 14 books that was taken out of the King James Version Bible. So if you look at the your standard Bible, it has 66 books in it, right? The part that's missing, those 14 books, is called the Apocrypha, and that's between Malachi and the book of Saint Matthew, right? That's the Greek captivity that was taken out of it, right? So we're going to read from the Apocrypha, Second Ezra chapter 13, and we're going to go to we're going to start at verse 8, and it reads, and after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid. You see that? And yet durst fight. So you're going to have the Army, the Navy, the Marine Corps, the Space Force. They're going to be scared, but they're going to still try to fight our king, right? Let me get some shout outs real quick. What's going on, Paradise? Skinny Black, House of Fun, Quadam 144. Appreciate you joining the live. Y'all double tap the screen. She's Meat 33. Small, shout out to my Black Nation family. Lot B, appreciate you joining the live. Let me see who else we got up in here. Def DJ, appreciate you joining the live. The Love Life, appreciate you joining the live. Shout out to Black Nation. Sean 11, appreciate you joining the live. Let's see. Welcome everyone. Welcome. So let me read that again. 2nd Ezra chapter 13 and verse 8. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight. So the Army, the Navy, the Marine Corps, the Space Force, they're going to be scared, but they're still going to try to fight our king, right? With their weapons, with their ships, with their Apaches, right? They're going to still try to fight. Let's read on. Verse 9. It says, and lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. You see that? Verse 10. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. Verse 11. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight. Right? That's everybody that wants to go against our king, right? And burdened them up everyone, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. So imagine that. We all had barbecue before, but imagine smelling the barbecue of human flesh. That's all that you want to smell in the atmosphere. This is how graphic the scriptures gets when the Messiah returns, right? So look at the physics of this divine airstrike. When multinational military forces assemble their jets, right, their tanks and nuclear armaments to fight our king, he doesn't even need to draw a physical blade at all. He doesn't need to pull out a sword at all, right? He opens his mouth and unleashes a concentrated stream of atomic level, superheated fire straight into their ranks, right? That's what he does. He gives the command. He gives the command of his host, his army, to go and attack. Because our king, Yahawashi, he's the general, right? So a single wave of flaming breath and supercharged sparks blast through the lines of the Army, Navy, the Space Force, the Marine Corps, right? And it totally vaporizes millions of heavily armed soldiers in a fraction of a second, right? In the fraction of a second, right? Their tactical armors melts. They're burning flesh. Can you imagine that? Flesh melting away. What's going on, Seven? And nothing remains except heaps of great ash, right? Blowing in the wind. Because like I said, we all been to a barbecue before. And we all know how when something turns it gets burnt, you get that gray ash material, going everywhere, right? So to truly grasp the psychological warfare that the Most High Yahweh is going to release upon the rebellious earth, right? Before the physical slaughter even begins, we must, right? And I will be remiss, we must examine the most intense records of divine darkness, right? We're going to look at another chapter from the Apocrypha, right? That breaks down the terrifying mental prison reserved for the ungodly or the unrighteous, right? So let me go to the book of Wisdom of Solomon. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon. And again, this is out of the Apocrypha. right? We're going to go to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 17, right? And I think I'm going to start at verse 2, right? So verse 2, it says, "For when unrighteous men thought to oppress the holy nation, they being shut up in their houses, the prisoners of darkness, and feathered with the bonds of a long night." Hold on, y'all. All types of stuff popping up on my screen. Okay, let me read that again. "For when unrighteous men thought to oppress the holy nation, they being shut up in their houses, the prisoners of darkness, and feathered with the bonds of a long night, laid there exiled from the eternal providence." So the rebellious thought, right? The rebellious thought they were masters of the earth, right? Donald Trump, Putin, right? They think they're the rulers and the authorities of the earth, right? And they hold holy nations into subjection. That's what they do, right? But instead, they will be thrown into invisible, inescapable chains of supernatural blackness, right? Locked inside their own homes, completely cut off from the light of the Most High, right? Waiting for absolute destruction. They're going to be waiting there, waiting for destruction to happen, right? I appreciate you, Box 5. I appreciate you. Let's read on verse 3. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 17, verse 3. "For while they supposed to lie hid in their secret sins, they were scattered under a dark veil of forgetfulness, being horribly astonished and troubled with strange apparitions." Y'all hear this, family? It says being troubled with strange apparitions. So every secret sin, every hidden hypocrisy, right? And every perversion they thought was buried in secret will be ripped open under a suffocating veil of dark forgetfulness, right? Completely shattering their nervous systems with sudden screaming terror, right? This is what's going to happen. We're talking about the day our King, Yahawashi, returns, his second coming, right? Like it says right here, the second coming, a day of darkness. It's not going to be no light when this happens. It's going to be a scary time, family. Let's read on verse 4. "For neither might the corner that held them keep them from fear, but noises as of waters falling down sounded about them, and sad visions appeared unto them with heavy countenance." So no high security room, no underground military shelter, and no luxury home can protect the wicked from sheer panic. So you can't go into your underground bunker, right? Somewhere in New Zealand and think that you're safe nowhere, right? Supernatural sounds will crash around them like roaring waterfalls. We don't want this to be us, family. We want to totally avoid this nightmare. That's going to be a reality, right? So these people, they saw demonic apparitions, right? With grim, lifeless faces that materialize out of the blackness, out of the darkness, right? This is scary just reading about it right here, let alone having to go through it. You in the pitch black darkness and the apparition just appears, a monstrous apparition, right? That it stares at you and it stares directly through your soul, right? That's what we're reading about right now. Let's jump down to verse 14. Verse 14. "But they sleeping the same sleep that night, which was indeed intolerable, and which came upon them out of the bottoms of inevitable hell." I got to read that one more time to drive it home again. "But they sleeping the same sleep that night, which was indeed intolerable," meaning they couldn't go to sleep. It's intolerable. "And which came upon them out of the bottoms of inevitable hell." So what's going to happen is you're going to be hunted by monstrous phantoms. 1 second. So 1 second is monstrous phantoms, right? And frozen in total fainting paralysis at the very same time. So you can be hunted by phantoms, and then you're going to get put into a paralysis at the very same time, right? So all this is going to happen all of a sudden, right? You're going to have unexpected wave of doom will seize every breath in your body, where you're going to freeze up, and all the wicked stuff that we've done is going to be brought to our remembrance. This is what we're trying to avoid, family, right? This is why I make these classes, so we can understand the pure terror that's going to happen during the second coming, right? I'm reading from the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 17 is where I'm reading from. It's out of the Apocrypha. And if you're not familiar with the Apocrypha, that's the 14 books that was taken out of the Bible. It's always been there. It was taken out during by a man named Martin Luther. It was taken out by, right? So we're reading the entire restored Bible, right? Okay, all praise to the Most High. Okay, let's go down to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 17. Let's go to verse 18. Whether it were a whistling wind or a melodious noise of birds among the spreading branches, or a pleasing fall of water running violently. So the harsh grinding of falling rocks, the invisible stomping of wild beasts, right? And the hollow echoes from the mountains will send shock waves, right? Shock waves through the wicked's bones, melting their hearts and their minds like wax. It's going to melt your heart and your mind like wax, right? Let's read on. Let's jump down to verse 20. For the whole world shined with clear light, and none were hindered in their labor. So over the wicked alone, right? So over the wicked alone will hang a heavy, crushing blanket of eternal night. Again, over eternal night, right? A physical, terrifying preview is what we're reading right here. A preview, right, of the outer darkness that will receive, that the wicked is going to receive. This is going to be their damnation, right? Of those wicked spirits forever. Not for just a short time, right? And they come up out of it, right? But it's going to be the damnation forever, eternity, right? Let's read on, verse 21. Over them only was spread a heavy night, an image of that darkness, which should afterward receive them, but yet were they unto themselves more grievous than the darkness. So, yet as violent and terrifying as that pitch black darkness is, right? The agonizing horror burning inside their own tormented minds will be far more unbearable than the darkness outside. So what's plaguing your mind is going to be far more unbearable than what you see outside, right? So you can't escape it. Let's go to the book of let's go to Joel. Let's go to Joel. What's going on? Welcome everybody. All right, so let me get some shout outs too real quick. So everybody joining the live. What's going on YouTube, Facebook? Appreciate y'all joining the live out there. Let's see what we got on here on Bigo. All right. Shout out to M Joseph. Appreciate you joining the live. What is MJ Moses? Shout out to Hood Rich, the AMEN. Shout out to you. Appreciate you joining the live. SUV. Glad to meet you. Baby Girl Johnson. Appreciate you joining the live. King. Big. This is Big. Appreciate you joining the live. Sexy Lips. Too Real Hebrew. Appreciate you joining the live. Heat Boy. Josh 508. Fio. Appreciate you joining the live. Y'all double tap the screen. If it's on your heart, hey, drop some beans. If it's on your heart, share the live, right? And give me a follow, right? So we can continue. You can continue getting these lessons. Let's go to the book of Joel, chapter 2, and we're going to go to verse 1. And it reads, blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble. You hear this, family? For the day of the Most High cometh, for it is nigh at hand, meaning it's close. It's here. The scripture tells us to blow the alarm, right? The alarm is letting you know that something is to come. In our culture, right? And me and Polygyny, he was talking about this yesterday, right? In our culture, we will blow the alarm for anything, for wars, right? We'll blow the alarm for the start of the Sabbath. we'll blow the alarm just to make people aware of what's going on, right? So what's going on is the day of darkness, the day of trouble, right? So again, it says, blow ye the trumpet in Zion and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble. So when you hear that sound, right? When you hear that missile alarm, it says tremble, be afraid, be scared. It says, for the day of the Most High cometh, for it is nigh at hand. Verse 2, a day of darkness and of gloominess. So contrary to popular belief, this is not going to be a day of sunshine and daffodils and roses and stuff like that. It says a day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong. There have not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. So this is going to be a day like none other, a day that we have never seen before on this earth, right? Let's read on verse 3. A fire devoureth them. You hear that, family? It's already talked about thermonuclear missiles. We read this out of here, how when the Messiah, he comes back, it's going to be all out fires and war going on. He says his eyes are like a flame of fire. Why is his eyes like a flame of fire? It is very, very specific. Because when you look into the pupil of someone's eyes, you can see the reflection. So you're seeing war everywhere. You're seeing destruction everywhere. You're seeing buildings on fire, cars on fire. You're seeing people on fire, right? This is what you're seeing right here, what we're witnessing. It says a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong. There have not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. A fire devoureth them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. So you're going to see part of the earth, like, still intact, and then the other part completely desolate and destroyed, right? You're going to see a division right there, right? It says, yeah, and nothing shall escape them. So I don't care who you are. I don't care how much money you have in your pocket. I don't care about the fame that you have in this world right here. It says nothing is going to escape them. So if you're wicked, you better repent right now. You better change right now. We all need to repent. We all have something that we should feel ashamed about to cause us to change. Right now, like I say to everybody, we all have hope right now because nobody is 6 feet underneath the ground. When you're 6 feet underneath the ground, there's no more hope left for you at all. It's over with. It's a wrap. Let's jump down to verse 11. It says, and the Most High shall utter his voice before his army. Y'all hear this, family? The Most High has his own army. Y'all think Donald Trump got an army. The Most High has his own army, right? That's a million times stronger than the Army, the Navy, the Marine, the Air Force, the Coast Guard. It says, and the Most High shall utter his voice before his army, for his camp is very great. For he is strong that executed his word. For the day of the Most High is great and very terrible. It didn't say this is going to be a good day. It says, and very terrible. And who can abide it? That's the question. Who's going to abide in it, right? So again, to recap, it says, blow the war trumpet. The war trumpet is going to be blown, right? The angelic force leading this invasion moves across the horizon like a wave of black death. The Most High's army is going to move across this earth like a wave of black death, right? Right before everybody. It's going to be a city might look prosperous, right? Because it says it's going to be, one's going to look good, the other part's going to be desolate, right? So a city, it might look prosperous and full of life, right? But behind them, it is instantly converted into a blackened, scorched wasteland littered with pulverized bones. That's what's going to happen right there. Yes, this is to be taken literally, not metaphorically, but literally, right? So this heavenly army does not show pity. It don't care about how you feel, your thoughts, right? Oh, I got a family. You want to you know, how they do, pull out your wallet. Look, I got a wife and kids. No, none of that stuff is going to matter at all, right? This heavenly army does not show pity or mercy. It does not break rank and does not miss a target. So everybody is experts in the Most High's army, right? No human wall, no concrete bunker, and no body armor can stop their advance when Yahawashi roars at the head of his execution force. Nothing's going to stop it. Nothing's going to stand in his way. It's going to go straight through it, right? Let's go back to Wisdom of Solomon. Let's go back to Wisdom of Solomon. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5. And let's go to verse 17. And it reads, He shall take to him his jealousy for complete armor, and make the creature his weapon for the revenge of his enemies. You hear that? Let me read it again. He shall take to him his jealousy for complete armor, and make the creature his weapon for the revenge of his enemies. Let me jump down to verse 20. His severe wrath shall be sharpened for a sword, and the world shall fight with him against the unwise. Right? Let's go to the book of 2 Thessalonians. Let's go to 2 Thessalonians, chapter 1. And let's go to verse 7. And it reads, And to you who are troubled, rest with us. Read that again. And to you who are troubled, rest with us. When Hamashiach Yahawashi shall be revealed from heaven with his mighty angels. You see that? This ain't no metaphor. This is real life. You said the Bible doesn't seem to support a second coming. We're reading about it right here, right? We read about it in the Old Testament and also the New Testament. So it does support a second coming, right? We're reading about it right now. Verse 8, in flaming fire, taking vengeance on them that know not the Most High. Because when did this ever happen right here? If it's not a second coming, when did this eschatological prophecy happen? An end time prophecy, when did it happen? It says, again, in flaming fire, taking vengeance on them that know not the Most High, and that obey not the gospel of our King, Hamashiach Yahawashi. So creation itself turns violently hostile to butcher the ungodly, the unrighteous, right? It's going to turn hostile. We're talking about animals. We're talking about the beasts, the lions, the cheetahs, the hyenas, right? The crows. That's his creatures. Also his people. That spirit is going to be put on them to carry out his duty. They're going to become the Most High's battle axe and weapon of war, right? Our King Yahawashi weaponizes the very laws of nature against his enemies. Tornadoes, earthquakes, hailstorms. He's going to use these things. He's going to, look, I've seen semi-trucks, right? The trailers get picked up in a tornado and swung around and spun around and thrown. I've seen this before. Images of this. Semi-trucks picked up by the Most High. So you can't say the Most High can't do it. Because yes, he will do it. Won't he do it? Right? Like the Christians say, won't he do it? Right? So again, our King Yahawashi is going to weaponize the very laws of nature against his enemies, right? Bolts of supercharged divine lightning will fly out of pitch black clouds like guided missiles, right? They're going to fly shooting like guided missiles, right? Striking targets with lethal precision, family. Lethal precision. That's what's going to happen, right? You're going to see giant hailstones, crushed skulls, and pulverized armored vehicles like cannonballs, right? Our King Yahawashi, he splits the sky, accompanied by millions of terrifying angelic war captains, right? Descending in flaming fire to execute anyone who flat out disobeyed the laws of the Most High. That's what's going to happen, right? So when people want to tell you the laws is done away with, yo, that's a scary thing right there. That's a scary thing if you want to listen and follow behind that thing right there, right? You better fear the Most High, and you better do what he tells you to do to the best of your ability. Because we're talking about the second coming, right? What's this? Irene said there's no indication of a gap for thousands of years. I'm not sure what you mean by that. You know, we can definitely see when we look at societies and culture, right? Every regime, every empire has about, on average, a 250-year span. We've seen that with the Babylonian Empire, the Greek Empire, the Byzantine Empire. We've seen that with the Roman Empire. All these have a time span of, on average, of 250 years. We see the birth of the nation, the rise of the nation, and then the fall of the nation. And at every fall of that nation, what happens is there sexual immorality, sexual perversion. We've seen the rise of the birth of America, right? In July 4th, 1776, right? To now, we've seen the birth of America, July 4th, 1776, the birth of the nation. We've seen the golden age of America, the rise of the nation. And now it's been July 4th, 2026, which makes on average 250 years. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen this year because nobody knows the time or the date. But all I know is, and all I'm going to say to y'all is that we're living on borrowed time as we speak right now. Because all you see is the sexual immorality and the degradation of society, the degeneracy of society going down the drain, right? That's all you see, right? Let's look at the book of St. Matthew. Let's go to St. Matthew, chapter 24. And actually, you know what? Let me go to St. Matthew chapter 24, and I'm going to start at verse 36 first, and I'm going to jump back up. St. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 36. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. So only the Father knows when he's going to send his son back with vengeance. All we know is that we're in the ballpark by looking at how this world is. Looking at how this world used to be great. It used to be strong, right? But now it's weak. No one is afraid of America anymore, right? So this regime, this wicked regime is coming to an end, family. So believe it or not, I mean, hey, you don't have to believe it, but hey, the blood is off my hand once this class is done. This is, let me go to verse 27, St. Matthew 24, and let me go to verse 27. And it reads, for as the lightning cometh out of the east and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. You see that? Let me read that one more time. For as the lightning cometh out of the east and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. I will get to the questions after I'm done with the presentation. I think it was Irene. I'll get to that. So let me read that one more time. St. Matthew 24 and 27. For as the lightning cometh out of the east and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. See that? Let's go to the let's go to Revelation, right? Let's go ahead and land me back off that precept right here. Revelation chapter 1 and verse 7. Behold, he cometh with clouds. This is the very last book of the Bible right here. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, talking about the Romans that put him to death, right? And all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him, even so, right? Let's go to Revelation chapter 6. Let's go to verse 15. Revelation 6 and 15. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. All right, that's talking about people that want to get these bunkers in New Zealand and Australia and places of that nature, right? They want to think their money can save their lives, that it can hide them, it can tuck them away. Let's read on. And said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb, right? So the physical return of the king is a global shockwave of sheer horror, of sheer terror, right? His arrival isn't a quiet event, right? So all these people that want to claim that they the Messiah, like Yaju and that guy that's in Africa right now, right? These are just the modern day ones, right? That want to claim that it's gonna come and no one's gonna really know that he came, right? It's not going to be a quiet event at all, right? This event is going to light up the dark sky from the east to the west like a global bolt of atmospheric lightning. That's what the scripture said, right? Every single eye on earth will see him. Everyone is going to see him. Look at the pathetic state of the global elite when this hits, right? Because they're talking about they're going to be hiding in mountains. Presidents, billionaires, generals, and global leaders will abandon their wealth, their posts, and crawl into dirt caves like terrified rats, right? You're going to listen to them. You're going to listen to the whimpering. The whimpering is going to echo through the mountains, right? They're going to say, fall on us, right? It's going to say, fall on us, crush us alive. That's what they're going to say. Just hide us from the lethal wrath of the Lamb. That's what they're saying. Just please hide us from the lethal wrath of the Lamb, right? They will literally rather have tons of jagged rocks crush their bones than look into the glowing, fiery eyes of our King Yahawashi. That's what they will literally want to happen to them, right? So that tells you how terrifying and how dark the second coming is going to be, right? Let's go to the book of Jeremiah. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 25. And let's go to verse 30. And it reads, therefore prophesy thou against them all these words. And that's what I'm doing right now, family. Because it says, prophesy against them all these words, and say unto them, the Most High shall roar from on high, and utter his voice from his holy habitation. He shall mightily roar upon his habitation. He shall give a shout as they that tread the grapes against all the inhabitants of the earth. Right? Let's read on, verse 31. A noise shall come even to the ends of the earth, for the Most High have a controversy with the nations. What does that mean? The Most High wants to get up with the nations. He wants to get up with us, right? He will plead with all flesh. And that don't mean he's going to say, please, please, just change your ways. No, it means he's going to come back doing some destruction. He will give them that are wicked to the sword. You see that, family? We live in America. We live in a society where it's group think. Everybody wants to follow the latest trend and fad, right? Appreciate the love, J. Crow. Appreciate the gifts. Everybody wants to follow the latest trend and follow the latest fad, right? What's the newest thing out there, right, on the market? It says he will plead with all flesh. He will give them that are wicked to the sword, saith the Most High. So who's saying this? These aren't my words. It says, saith the Most High. Verse 32. It says, thus saith the Most High of hosts, behold, evil shall go forth from nation to nation. That's dealing with destruction. Destruction is going to go forth from nation to nation, and a great whirlwind shall be raised up from the coast of the earth. Verse 33. And the slain of the Most High shall be at the day from one end of the earth, even unto the other end of the earth. Now make this be a metaphor and not something literal. It says the slain, the destruction, right, is going to be from one end of the earth, even unto the other end of the earth. They shall not be lamented, neither gathered nor buried. So you know how you have a funeral and people get a chance to cry and mourn over the lost ones and loved ones? That's not going to happen. Because if you wicked,
hey, bro, I'm up here to get educated. What the word lamenta mean? That word you just said, what that mean?
Yeah, so lamented, that goes into crying. That goes into mourning. That goes into you're just sorry that you lost somebody, you lost a loved one. Yeah, you lost a loved one. So let me read that again. Again, it says, and the slain of the Most High shall be at that day from one end of the earth, even unto the other end of the earth. they shall not be lamented, neither gathered nor buried. So your loved ones, right? If they're wicked, and if you're wicked, it's going to be no time to mourn anybody. So imagine your child, right? And this is why we got to stop doing this damn group thing, right? You got a little baby.
So that's what lamented means.
Yeah, it means to mourn. Right, to mourn.
Okay.
Right, to mourn. All praise to the Most High. So yeah, imagine that. We got these little kids right now, right? They following trends of Sexy Red, Cardi B, right? What's that other heifer name? My scamming ass niggas, that whole, you know, you got Nicki Minaj, all them, right? You got little girls twerking and dancing and following after these people that are their idols. So you're not, when your little child, they get destroyed for being wicked, you're not even gonna have time to mourn them because you're going to get destroyed next. And you're not gonna have no time to bury them because you'll be destroyed next, right? That's a serious thing, right? Hey, hold your questions though, Box 2. I'm gonna get to questions at the end of this. Let's write it down so you don't forget. Let me read that again. Yeah, write your questions down so y'all don't forget. So let me read. Read it again. And the slain of the Most High shall be at that day from one end of the earth even unto the other end of the earth. They shall not be lamented, neither gathered nor buried. They shall be dung upon the ground. You see that? And we're going to get in why they're going to be dung upon the ground. Because that means the wild beasts of the earth is going to eat them and eat you if you're wicked, and it's going to crap you out. That's what it means by dung on the ground, right? So the death toll, right, will be catastrophic. Again, the death toll will be catastrophic, family. Yahweh roars from his dwelling like a lion closing in on its prey, right? Like a lion closing in on its prey, right? Shouting an execution decree against every inhabited on the planet, every person on the planet, right? Calamity jumped from country to country because it said from one end to the other end. So destruction is going to jump from one country to another country like an uncontrollable wildfire. I'm out here in California, right? In Southern California at that. We got wildfires that will literally jump over the freeway. So this is how the destruction is going to happen. It's going to jump from one country to another country, right? We got to read the reality for itself, for what it says. Y'all got to read the reality for yourself, right? Don't just take my words for it. Go into these scriptures, dig into these scriptures right here, right? Because this is really what is going to happen. The slain of the Most High will lie dead from one end of the earth clear to the other. No morgues, no coffins, no burials, and no tears. Just mountains of bloated, rotting human corpse left like manure under the sun. That's all that's going to be there, right? Let's go to the book of Habakkuk. Let's go to the book of Habakkuk, chapter 3, and let's go to verse 3. The Most High came from Teman, and the Holy One from Mount Paran, Selah. His glory covered the heavens, and the earth was full of his praise. You see that? And his brightness was as the light. He had horns coming out of his hand, and there was the hiding of his power. Verse 5. Before him went the pestilence, and burning coals went forth at his feet. So his binding glory covers the heavens like a wall of fire as he steps onto the earth in terrifying majesty, right? Really, real majestic like, right? You're going to have beams of supercharged energy shoot straight from his hands. We are reading this in the script. This sounds like almost like a Marvel comic almost right here, right? We're literally reading where they get the ideal of superheroes from, of Marvel from, right out of the Bible. This is where Stan Lee got these Marvel comics from, right out of the scriptures right here, right? It's going to be deadly biological plagues. So the deadly biological plagues, right? Like not only just your COVID, monkeypox, and everything else, right? Are going to march directly ahead of his path, right? Turning human organs to liquids while burning coals of fire shoot out at his feet. We got war, horrific disease, and sudden death are going to be dispatched to execute payback on a planet that has reached its absolute limit of wickedness. America, the earth, the world has reached its absolute limit of wickedness. Let me real quick. I'm going to go to the book of Genesis real quick, because the same thing happened before, but it happened with water. Let me go to Genesis chapter 6, and I'm going to go to verse 11, right? So this is when the earth was destroyed the first time with water. The second time it's going to be destroyed is with fire, right? So the first time it says, Genesis 6 and 11, the earth also was corrupt before the Most High. So we see the earth before was corrupt, right? The earth is now corrupt again, right? It says, and the earth was filled with violence. And the Most High looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. So everything is corrupt right now. You know, you got animals, they're corrupt right now. You got people corrupt. Everything is the air, the water, it's all corrupted, it's polluted, right? I'm led to believe that none of us has ever drunk any clean, pure water ever, because everything has microplastics and fibers and stuff and microfibers up inside of it. The ocean is polluted. Everything is corrupted right now. So it has to change. It has to be turned over and burned and purified into a new world, right? Let's go to the book of Revelation. Let's go to the book of Revelation, chapter 14. And let's start at verse 19. And it reads, and the angel thrust in his sickle into the earth and gathered the vine of the earth and cast it into the great winepress of the wrath of the Most High. Again, here it is. We got that winepress talked about, like we read in the book of Isaiah, chapter 63, right? Verse, let me see, verse 20. And the wine, verse 20. And the winepress was trodden without the city, and blood came out of the winepress, even unto the horse brittles, by the space of 1,600 furlongs. We are reading about blood, gore, destruction. This is coming out of the Bible. This is not some Freddy Krueger book we're reading, right? This is not some Nightmare on Elm Street we're reading about. We're reading this directly from the scriptures, right? Let's go to Revelation chapter 19. And let's go to verse 15. And it reads, and out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of the Almighty Most High. Verse 16. And he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Power of Powers. So visualize the graphic scale of this slaughter that we're reading about right here, right? And an angel swings a razor sharp execution sickle, throwing whole nations straight into the massive, crushing winepress of the furious rage of the Most High, right? Blood explodes out of smashed human bodies in such unimaginable volume that it forms a literal river rising as high as horse brittle. It's rising as high as the horse's brittle, right? That's the thing you put around a horse's mouth and his neck, right? For nearly 200 miles, right? That is a 5-foot deep torrent of human blood we're talking about right here. A 5-foot deep torrent of human blood. You can really drown in this right here. Our King Yahawashi rules them with an iron fist, wearing the supreme title of his blood-stained thigh, saying King of Kings and Power of Powers, right? This is what's going to happen. Let's read on verse 17. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great Most High, right? That ye may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. So we're reading right here that you're going to have birds of prey, right? You're going to have condors, eagles. You're going to have wolves eating the flesh of kings, right? The flesh, that's right, the flesh of all men, all wicked men that didn't make it, that didn't escape the trouble. That's going to literally be eaten by these animals, owls, right? And those vultures and stuff like that, literally plucking out the eyeballs and eating it, right? Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 110. Psalms chapter 110. And let's go to verse 5. And it reads, the Most High at thy right hand shall strike through kings in the day of his wrath. Let me read that again. The Most High at thy right hand. The right hand is talking about the power, right? At thy right hand shall strike through kings in the day of his wrath. Verse 6. He shall judge among the heathen. He shall fill the places with the dead bodies. He shall wound the heads over many countries. So here it is. We got in the Old Testament, what you call the Old Testament, and you got in the so-called New Testament, the destruction right here, right? But why doesn't your pastor read these scriptures to you? All he wants to read to you is a prosperity doctrine, right? It says an angel standing in the sun. So an angel standing in the sun screams to every bird of prey in the sky to fly down, right? Imagine that. You got an angel saying, come on down, vultures, crows, right? And they're saying this in the Hebrew tongue. Come on down and feast on all the wicked, all the dead bodies, right? So an angel is going to be standing in the sun, screams to every bird of prey in the sky to fly down for the great bloody feast of the Most High. The great bloody feast of the Most High. We're talking about vultures, crows, eagles, right? They will all dive down to tear the rotting, hot flesh off the bones of generals, billionaires, soldiers, and rebellious people, right? This is what's going to happen right here, family. The birds, hey, what's going on, boss? Meet your mic. So the birds, right, they will gorge themselves on human flesh until they are stuffed. Again, they're going to feed and gorge themselves on human flesh until they are stuffed. They can't eat no more, right? The Messiah strikes straight through world leaders in the day of his anger, filling the battlefields with piles of headless corpse and crushing the rulers of many lands. I got to make this as graphic as possible, family, so you can understand and be afraid, so it can cause you to change, because I'm reading directly from the Bible itself, the scriptures itself, right? Let's go to the book of Ezekiel. Like I said, so if this scare you, it should scare you, so you can change, right? Let's go to Ezekiel, because I know it scares me. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 9, and let's go to verse 5. And to the others he said in mine hearing, go ye after him through the city and smite. Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. So here it is. You got the angels, right? They're going through all cities, right? All countries. And they're just smiting, killing everybody, right? That's wicked. Let's read on verse 6. Slay utterly old and young. So it's not going to care about your grandmammy and your grandpappy. These angels don't give a damn about them. Because see, what Christianity will teach you and tell you, right, is that everybody's going to be in heaven, right? Like I tell a lot of people, yo, don't let me give somebody's eulogy and I don't know the nigga, right? Because I'm gonna tell you what, right? If you got Lil Donnell, and I know and all I heard about Lil Donnell being a damn terrorist to the block and terrorist to the neighborhood, I'm gonna tell you the same thing. I'm gonna like, look, Lil Donnell, he in hell right now. He's burning in hell right now. He's going to face the second death in a minute, right? So you got to understand, I don't care how much you love your grandma, your granddad, your children. any of this type of stuff, because the Most High does not care about any of this type of stuff. If they're wicked, it's going to be a judgment for them, because that's what the scripture tells us. Let me read that again. Verse 6 again. Slay utterly. Slay means to kill, to destroy. Slay utterly, old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark. Now, when it's dealing with this mark right here, that is the mark of the Most High, right? That's the ones that are spared because their righteous works allowed them to make it into the kingdom of heaven, right? What's going on, Mystical Truth? It allowed them to make it into the kingdom of heaven. You want to be the one that has the mark of the Most High, and not the mark of the beast, but because that's something totally different. But you want to have the mark of the Most High, right? Let me read that again. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. I mean, that's going to start at the house of Israel. Those that know that you're an Israelite, right? It's going to start with the 12 tribes first, right? Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Simeon, Zebulun, Gad, Reuben, Asher, Issachar, Naphtali, right? This is what's going to start with first. The 12 tribes of Israel, right? Let's go to the book of Hebrews. Let's go to the book of Hebrews, chapter 12. And let's go to verse 29. And it reads, for our power is a consuming fire. So it says the Most High is a consuming fire, right? So look at the code, unyielding execution order given to the angels here in Ezekiel, right? It says, go through the city, strike hard, let not your eyes spare. It says, don't worry about their old, young, women, man, children. Don't care about that. Don't spare. It says, right? So zero pity. He's commanded the angels to have zero pity, zero sympathy, right? Slay utterly old men, young men, maidens, little children, and women who lack the mark of truth, who lack the mark of the Most High, right? There will be no emotional weeping that halts the execution blade. Again, there's going to be no emotional weeping that's going to stop the execution blade, right? You're not going to be able to get on your hands and your knees at that time and say, please, please spare me. It's too late. The time is now, right now, right? No excuses are going to be accepted, and no exceptions are going to be made, family. The Most High will overthrow global empires and demonstrate his absolute reality, right? His absolute reality. Our power, the Most High, is a consuming fire. He's a consuming fire, right? Let's look at the book of Zephaniah. Let's look at the book of Zephaniah, chapter 3. And let's go to verse 8. And it reads, therefore, wait ye upon me, saith the Most High, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. Now ask yourself, why is the Most High jealous? He's jealous because you got people worshiping idols and other gods and deities and stuff, and not him. So that's why his fire and his indignation, which is his wrath, is going to pour upon all the wicked, right? Let's look at the book of 2 Peter. Let's go to 2 Peter. And welcome everybody's joining. Welcome everybody's joining. Let's go to 2 Peter chapter 3, and let's go to verse 10. 2 Peter 3 and 10. But the day of the Most High will come as a thief in the night. A thief comes when you least expect a thief to come, right? In the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise. That's that boom, that sonic boom that you're going to hear, right? That's when you're going to have you're going to hear a boom going to happen, right? And then about 8 seconds later, the glass that you're standing in front of is going to shatter, and it's going to split you into pieces. Because that's what happens. That's what happens when a nuclear bomb drops. You're going to hear the explosion, but you're not going to feel the aftermath until about 8 seconds later, right? When everything shatters and breaks. And then within depending how close you are to the destruction zone, you could have literally minutes, right, to get somewhere safe before you die from radiation poison, right? This is a scary thing right here I'm reading about. We know that every single country has some type of thermonuclear weapon right here. And all it takes is for the Most High to put the spirit on little Kim Jong-un, on Vladimir Putin, to push it, right? And then all hell is going to break loose, right? Let's read that again. 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 10. But the day of the Most High will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. You hear that, family? It's going to melt with a fervent heat, meaning you're going to see buildings turn into liquid again, right? You're going to see people turn into puddles of liquid. Imagine you at work and your coworker turns into a puddle of liquid and you step in him. And that was Tommy that stepped in, right? Oh, that's old Tom, man. Tom turned into liquid. He was liquefied. This is literally what's going to happen right here, family. Let's go to the book of Revelation. Let's go to Revelation chapter 21. And let's go to verse 8. Revelation 21 and verse 8. But the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. Family, this is afraid. This is something to be afraid of. This is the final, unchangeable execution of human rebellion. Again, this is the final, unchangeable execution of human rebellion. The Most High, he gathers the nations to pour out his fierce anger, burning the entire planet with the fire of his jealousy, right? The day of the Most High arrives like a thief in the night. You don't know it's going to come, right? The physical atmosphere will ignite with a deafening roar, and the fundamental elements, right, of the earth will melt under superheated divine wrath. And the earth and every wicked work inside it will burn to a crisp, right? It will be burnt crispy, right? So the fearful and the unbelieving and the lawless will receive their final eternal sentence in the lake that burns with fire and brimstone, family. This is what's going to happen on the second coming, a day of darkness, right? So the ancient decrees are written, they're locked and fully ordained. They're written, they're locked, and they're fully ordained, right? Right? The return of our King, Yahawashi, is not a soft sermon. It's not a gentle invite or peaceful compromise. It is an impending execution of fire, blood, and total divine conquest, family. A fire, blood, and total divine conquest, family. Every human empire will crumble. Every proud tyrant will fall, right? And the absolute sovereignty of the Most High Yahweh will be established through raw, terrifying, uncompromising power, right? So what should we do? Align yourself with the truth, yield to the Most High's laws, right? And walk in total obedience before the heavens break open and the fire falls, family. And with that, y'all, if there's any questions, if I got any questions on Facebook, on YouTube, on Bigo, come up, questions, comments. The floor is yours. You got anything for me, Box One? Box One, you got anything for me? You said no?
Hey, I know you're streaming live over multiple platforms.
Yeah.
I don't have any questions.
Okay.
But after you're done with the questions, man, if we could sharpen knives one with another, that's what I want to do with you.
Okay.
Afterwards, I'll wait till after all the questions asked if you got time. I know you're streaming on multiple platforms. I don't want to break that up.
Oh yeah, no worries. Let me see. Box 3. He said, "What is the mark of holiness?" Okay, let's see what the mark of holiness is. Right. Let's pull it up in the scriptures. So this will be the mark of holiness. Let's see. Let's go to the book of Romans, chapter 7. So the question for those watching on and listening on YouTube and Facebook is asked, what is the mark of holiness? So the mark of holiness is right here. This is Romans chapter 7 and verse 12. Wherefore the law is holy, and the commandment holy, and just and good. So the mark of holiness is keeping the commandments, keeping the law. And when you do these things, you're marked as separate, and you're different from the rest of the world. So that's the mark of holiness right there. If that answers the question. Box 4, you got something for me?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about some of the scriptures, man. I was talking to a brother yesterday. You know, God got a message heavy on my heart, man, and you went through a whole lot of those scriptures that God put. It's conflict in trying to do it because there's an older generation of believers. There's some of this stuff too heavy for them.
Yeah.
Right? And you got another generation coming up, a younger generation, and it's time for messages like this for them. A lot of what you mentioned is 2 Esdras, you know, 2 Thessalonians, God doing this and bringing this wrath upon the earth. A lot of that He's going to use us to do it.
Yes, He's going to use us as that's true. I think we're kind of worthy. Yes,
it's because we exalt Him up. It's because we gather to Him that He fulfilled this will through us. The coming, even mentioned in Matthew 25 or 24, whichever one it is, talking about how He comes as lightning striketh in the east and shineth even unto the west.
Right.
That's because He's going to pour His Spirit out everywhere.
Yes.
Right before He mentioned that, He said, if they ever say I came back and I'm in the desert, don't go there. If they ever came back and said I'm in a secret place, don't go after them. If they say I'm here and I'm there, don't go. Why? Because I'm going to be everywhere. See, that Spirit come down like rain. And in 2 Thessalonians chapter 1, when He talk about gathered with us, you know, and how He going to bring this wrath, He say, when I come to be glorified in them.
Right.
When I come to be glorified in them, you know, even in Joel chapter 2, going in chapter 3, he tell them going into chapter 3, command the heathen to fight. See, He's going to gather the people to the valley of Joseph. He say, tell the heathen to fight. You know, God say, I endure with much long suffering the vessels fitted for destruction. There is a physical fight that got to happen, but our job is not the physical fight. When you mention scriptures in 2 Esdras and you mention scriptures in Jeremiah, He say that the fire is going to proceed out of the mouth. That's prophecy.
Right.
See, that's power. Prophets, they spoke and God moved His hand. Even in Revelation, they talk about prophecy, prophesying 1,000 and some days, because we're going to be able to speak and take down the powers of the world because God's hand is going to move behind the words like He done for the prophets.
Right, that's true.
I
want to talk about. I want to mention something that you said real quick about the generations. Right. I want to share this this precept. You made me think of this precept. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 78 and verse 8, and it says, "And might not be as their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation." That's what we see right now. This is a stubborn and rebellious generation, a generation that set not their heart aright and whose spirit was not steadfast with the Most High. So we're dealing with a generation right now that don't know and don't care nothing about the Most High. This is why we see so much immorality, especially sexual immorality, like we never seen before. You know, like myself, I was born in the 80s, raised in the 90s. And I have never seen so much same-sex love when I was coming up. Right? So, yeah, that was just to the point that you made, but go ahead and finish up, though, Box 4.
No, that's exactly right. Because out of this great darkness, as the world become dark, that's when they see a great light. It's reflected time and time again. You know, when God promised Abraham, he said, how will I know the promises is? He said they will go through 400 years of struggling, and after that, they're going to come out with great substance. In the days of Jesus, people in darkness saw a great light. The same thing in Joel saying it's a day of darkness, a thick darkness, and not light. And then it says morning spread across the mountains. That's the people of God arising in the earth. Which he said, I'm going to gather Judah first, and to Judah shall the gathering of the people be. So all of these form the nation and the mountain of Zion. You know, they say, we are the mountain of Zion. They say, let us go to the holy mountain. So that's us arising. When we arise, come out of Babylon, if God is saying, I'm going to make the house fall, he's trying to tell us to get out the house before he bring it down. Same way he did in Revelation when he say, hold back the four winds until I seal my servants in their mind, until they understand the instructions. Hold back this power that's going to come to test them till I can get them the instructions. So in the same sense, this is how God operating with us. Yeah, he telling you that I'm going to judge the nation, but we have to break away from the mind state of the nation, get out of the house that he's trying to bring down.
That's right. That's right. All right, let me get box 5 in here. What you got for me, box 5? Box 5. That's box 5. You there, box 5? You got anything? Hey, any questions on YouTube and Facebook? Y'all put y'all questions in the chat, or let me see. I'm not gonna bring y'all up on Facebook and YouTube. Y'all have questions inside the chat for YouTube and Facebook. I'm gonna put it in there. Let me see what it is. He says, "Hi, love." Let me see, respectful, no fussing and arguing. Yeah, I try to keep this platform where, you know, if you disagree, that's fine, right? I just ask that everybody just be respectful. You don't gotta agree with the things I bring out, but all I ask that you be respectful, right? Go ahead, box 2. What you got for me though? Box 2. Box 2 ain't there no more. Box 2.
I kept on switching mine around. I'm not sure what your box I'm in.
Oh yeah, that's you. What's up? What you got for me?
I don't have nothing right now.
Oh, that's right now. Okay. Okay. My brother, stress free. What's going on, my brother?
What's going on, big brother? How you doing?
I'm all right. You know, hey, another day closer to the kingdom, like my elder says.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, what you got for me?
No, just got done doing myself.
Okay.
And you know, prepping for identifying high value predators tomorrow.
High value predator. I gotta check that out. What time you gonna live tomorrow?
Yeah, for sure. 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. EST time. Well, no, not EST Central. 1 o'clock Central time.
Okay. All right, I gotta check that out. For sure. Let me open the panel a little more. Let me see.
Yeah, for sure. What's the topic? I see you got second.
Yeah, it was talking about
a day of darkness.
Yeah, it was talking about the second coming of our King. And it's gonna be a day of darkness. A lot of people think it's gonna be, you know, hugs, kisses, lollipops, and you know, you're gonna get some blonde hair guy that's gonna just be loving all nations and stuff, right? But that's not what the Bible says. So yeah, we just gotta kind of wrap it up.
Everywhere, ain't they?
Huh?
You seen them the breakdown of these new insects and the mess, and you know, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's gonna be total. It's gonna be scary. A scary time. Yeah. I'm just asking questions, right? Or taking questions, comments, thoughts. You know, right now we actually kind of wrapped it up.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. If anybody want to come to the stage, like I said, I can't do it all night like my brother Polygyny King. But if y'all got questions, comments, this is the time. And on YouTube and appreciate the gifts. On YouTube and Facebook, if y'all got questions or comments, do not be scared. You can come up, ask questions and comments as well. Let me see who all up in here. Let's get some shout outs to folks. If you haven't already, y'all.
I would love to have your input one day, brother, where I'm doing one of my segments on spiritual. I would say spiritual dating, because you're spiritual as well, right?
Right. I try to be.
Right. You
try to be in the spirit.
Right. So yeah. So yeah. I would love for you to be able to side by side give some advice when women are dating for them how to identify a man that isn't of good value.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, just let me know when, and we can try to set something up. For sure.
All right, for sure.
Yeah, just let me know when. I would definitely love to talk on that. That's talking about women and men. Those topics I'd love going into the scriptures, because we all got to take accountability and fix ourselves.
Yeah, because we have a lot of women that go off of the Bible. They might be Christians or whatnot, but they go off of the Bible. So, I would love to hear you be able to give from a biblical sense some tools that they can use to identify a man that isn't of the Bible, that isn't good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, women, just a little advice for y'all now. Women, y'all need to leave these dudes alone that y'all say have potential. Don't deal with a nigga that has potential, right? Because he will never reach that potential. He needs to be there, right? He needs to be there already.
He needs to be what you want him to be. If he's not, why are you with somebody that you don't want to be with? Why are you with somebody that other men check off the list, all your lists, but he don't? But you're going to be with him for what? So this the thing. Whatever it is that you're weak to, that caused you to be with him, no matter if it's his light skin, his dark skin, no matter if it's the fact that you have sympathy for him because he didn't have his dad, or his mommy wasn't really good for him. Look, that's not your responsibility to heal that man or even really help that man heal. You need to know that he has already took the steps and the procedures to do what he needs to do as a man first. That way you can spend your time focusing on yourself when he gets with you. You can spend your time on focusing on the greatness within a relationship in Tahiti somewhere. Instead of while you're in Tahiti, you're trying to heal the sexual demonic spirits within this man, because he ain't never went to rehab. He ain't never went and focused on the healing that he needs from the things that has overcome his spirituality, his mental stability, his emotional stability. So yeah, there are men out there that check everything off. Only make space for those men, not the men that are the 3% of your list.
Right, and also I just want to make things clear.
I can't disagree with that. I can't just agree all the way with that. Let me say
I was about to ask about that. You done got me to talk on.
Go ahead, Joe.
So, I want you to kind of be more specific on what you mean by that, because
I got you. Okay, perfect example. Say you have a type, right? As far as physical appearance.
No, can I give you a scenario?
You can go ahead.
Scenario?
You go
ahead. Let's say a man that that's financially getting himself together. He has himself together, but he's not stable. Exactly.
In what way? Stable in what way?
Meaning that he has other priorities and places that his money needs to be, like is being delegated other places. Right. Child support. Right.
Okay. Is he behind a lot?
No, he's not behind on child support. He's actually he might actually get like what do you call that? Retro.
I'm just saying in the scenario, you know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. saying. In the scenario, he actually might get what is that called? Retroactivity. Something where retroactivity where they actually pay him back later on.
Okay.
But he doesn't. But with all that between court and all of that, it still intervenes with the other person. And
right.
let's say she's a older woman. So like while y'all talking about waiting, that means that she's waiting while she's also going through her at her age that she is waiting.
Okay.
So let's say he really doesn't have it to really provide or take care of her or to even deal with, really to even like provide for it all, period, as a family right now with her.
Right.
Would you say that but he has the potential to?
Okay.
You don't really, but you really don't know. You don't know what court is going to do. You have no clue what the court is going to do. You're only going off of what you see.
Right.
So.
Right. So I'm gonna use myself as an example. Me and my woman that I'm currently with now, I was on child support. When I met her, well, you don't know, but I'm telling you. So I was on child support. At the time, I was only making $11 an hour. My child support got boosted to $200 a month because of something crazy that my daughter's mom did. She lied and stuff like that, to get them to do it. They did it. I told my woman, before she was my woman, that, you know what, let me get this situated. Let me get this to where this is down so I could properly provide. We could hold off on the relationship. And she was willing to do that because I already knew the type of man that she wanted from the beginning, that, that could provide, that could do certain things. So we were friends until that. And when I got that figured out and everything was copacetic, then I got in a relationship with her. So I'm saying it would be okay for a woman to be like, look, I'm gonna give you a set time. Now, granted, you said you don't know when that time is. If you are cool with that, if you can handle that for a long period of time, then it's not that he has potential. It's that he's the one you want, and that's not a big deal to you. So go ahead and do it. But I would suggest for the women that feels like it's a big deal and it's going to be a problem, don't get into that.
Hey, can I say something? This is what I want to say. I can't agree with everything you say because I got to stand from a biblical standpoint. You hear what I'm saying? God, his requirements for finding a wife or a husband, because the relationship part is sin in the eyes of God. The whole fornication act, that's sin. But it's for the one looking for a husband or a wife. He say, don't let them be unequally yoked with an unbeliever. See, what you look for is that a person submits to God, because a person that submits to God is going to always present their best self to you. You hear me? If you always acknowledge the fact that God know what I did, and nobody got to be looking over your shoulder for you to do the right thing. See, we can't be perfect for God, so we can't be perfect for each other because we less than God. So what I'm telling you is, if I lie to you, and I feel terrible for lying because God know that I lied to you, I'm going to be broken. It's going to make me not lie to you and confess my lie to you. I'm not going to commit adultery because God know that I committed adultery. See, I'm not even fearful of her finding out. I'm fearful that God, I already know I did it. So I'm going to put my best foot forward not to commit adultery, confessing my sin. So this
when
is
you
what you look for, because listen, I'm going to work because God said to work.
No.
Now, I'm just saying, this is what you look for as a believer. God say beauty is vain. If you looking with your eyes, say, "Oh, she look good to me," that's vain. How do you know she's honest? See, honesty means more than how she look. Yeah. See, we be looking at the wrong thing sometimes.
Don't go for looks, y'all. That's some good advice, because certain men will utilize the things that he knows that the women are weak to. Right. It may be money, it may be his status. Don't get a man's status mixed up with his character. Nino Brown gave out a lot of turkeys, and he got a lot of women on his trail because of them turkeys. You know, that he was giving out to grandmothers that needed them or whatnot. But if you check that man's character and don't be blinded by what he's doing and what he has, then you're not even going to allow him to come in until he fixed that first. So some women look at men like Nino Brown as an example, as men that got potential just because he give out turkeys. No, that is a dead horse, and that's the type of situation that I'm speaking on. If you need more clarity, I digress.
What you got on that box? Box 6. What you got on that box 6? What's that box 1? Box 1? Yeah, no.
If you don't start calling me box 1, please.
What you got?
Please.
What you got?
Yeah, if you're gonna accept him, bro. Accept him. Don't put no limit on it. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. If it's a limit to it, if you know in your mind that you got a certain amount of time for him to get himself together, don't get in a relationship with him until he get it done. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't call the person broke because they have their military. They're not broke, but you know they also don't have the funds to really be taking care of me.
Then in your mind you should be broke. If that man cannot properly take care of you and his family the way that a man should be able to, then yeah, he is broke.
A lot of times it take a joint effort today.
Why you kick Beyonce out?
When you look at a house,
because she ain't Beyonce.
A lot of men ain't gonna pay for that house by itself. We living in a day and time where with money it's a joint effort. Things are so high today. There's no way that one person can do everything and the other person keep everything. It's not gonna happen. Everything too high.
I mean, I don't think that's what that means when you say someone that provide.
I just want to share that a person's financial state could change at any time.
Yeah,
that's so you could have $40,000 in the bank. It don't mean 5 years from now everything in life ain't crashing down. You could meet a person with a mansion. That don't mean it ain't gonna be up for auction in the next 10 years. I mean, because life can take you those different ways.
And let me read the scripture right here because he made a point. People's finances can change. I'm gonna go to the book of let me see, Ecclesiasticus.
Oh, shit.
So this is Ecclesiasticus chapter 11 and verse 21. It says, marvel not at the works of sinners, but trust in the Most High, and abide in thy labor. For it is an easy thing in the sight of the Most High on the sudden to make a poor man rich. So that's easy for the Most High to do. A person's situation can always change. When I think we're talking about potential here, we're talking about somebody that they have hoop dreams, right? They're pretty much saying, I'm going to be, the next NBA player, right? I'm going to be the next rapper and stuff, things of this nature, because we know that's like a long shot. But somebody that's constantly working, constant in labor, that's a person that you kind of want to be with. That shows that they have that that ethic to work and to get the job done. We're not talking about your average, What's that?
Yes, that's a man of action.
Yeah, man of action, exactly. So that's what we're talking about. Because a lot of them say, oh, a guy, he's just in the studio all day. All he does is rap and make music and stuff. And so, but I see the potential in him. That's something different.
And are you talking about his potential and I'm talking to the woman. Are you talking about his potential as far as he has potential of him accomplishing what he want to accomplish? Or are you talking about him having potential of what you see potential is and what you want out of it?
I'm going off of what you guys said. You guys are the ones that brought up potential.
No, I'm talking about the man that you're talking about. Say you're dating a man. Would you go off of potential as what he is reaching for, or would you base potential off of what you are wanting him to be?
I'm confused. I don't know what you're asking me.
Can you break it down to her?
Yeah, so some things are
I don't think I'm too sleepy for this.
yeah, so some things are like a man can kind of be there, but he may just have come across a hard time, you know, setbacks in life, you know, but he's already established, like, you know, it's a setback that happened. You know, maybe, you know, he had to pay for something, or like you said, a child support thing came up. But you understand that they're established, you know, they're solid. They got an income that's coming, but they're just having a minor roadblock, a minor setback. That's something different.
But what if that minor roadblock? What if they have that minor roadblock, but they also have someone else? They have other things that they need to get in order too, besides that roadblock.
Other things is their relationship with God is the most important.
Yes.
Right. Or you acknowledging what His desire for you is, because God tell a man work with his hands. Right.
Right.
He tell him things to do. But it's not about money, man. When you look at our grandmothers who had 12, 13 kids, and the granddaddy had kids by other people, what made them make it?
You had a water bottle for me. You never gave me.
Think about how they made it. It wasn't, their marriage wasn't based on vacations.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't based on date night. It wasn't based on holidays. It wasn't based on salary. Our grandmothers and our great-grandmothers and grandfathers, they were poor as hell with 12, 13 kids.
Mm-hmm.
You hear me? They was turning, God was having miracles come out of the refrigerator because it didn't look like food, but they was able to put canned goods and stuff together for food to be done. They made it in their marriage.
Right.
The love was consistent on being having somebody to go through the issues of life with. That's what it was about.
And
so life got issues. You hear me? Out of the blue, you can have health issues. You want somebody that's gonna be there with you with them health, and you can't control that. You see what I'm saying? That's what it's about. It's not about money. God didn't put Adam
that means you need to figure out how to.
Everything.
Hold on, so let us finish. Right.
So, Defy, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So, I have seen a lot of women that will say that a man has potential even if he doesn't believe in the Most High. He doesn't believe in nothing, and the women are saying that, oh, you can still be with him, and when you do for him, he'll change his ways and start believing in God. I believe that no. If you get with that man and he don't believe in God, you are doomed. Period. You shouldn't be doing that. You should not be doing that, because everything that man is going to reap onto your life or bestow onto your life that is going to cause pain and strife, you're going to hold him accountable. Mm-hmm. When in all actuality, you shouldn't have been dealing with a man that doesn't believe in the Most High in the first place, if you believe in the Most High.
Right.
And that's what I feel where potential goes wrong.
Yeah, and I'm going to actually give the scripture for that. This is the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 14. And it reads, "Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship have righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion have light with darkness?" So the scripture even teaches us to not be together with someone that doesn't believe. You know, it says, you know, where two or more are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst. So if you have the Most High first, you know, you're praying together, you're fasting together. Like the scripture says, it's nothing for the Most High to make a poor man rich, and that circumstances change because he's showing that he has faith and belief in the Most High. If that makes sense.
This is exactly
what is a man to gain the riches of the world but to lose his soul?
Right.
Because he don't believe in the Most High.
Right.
And so check this out. God, he don't even let a preacher have authority over a man's wife. He tell her to go to her husband at home, because God make him the head of that family. You hear me? I can't come into your wife and tell her what she can and can't do. And you told her, I want us to do this. I said, you don't got to do that. He don't give another man authority. So it's different things in different marriages that matter, because it's what matters to him and it's what matters to her. And other people can't come and say, well, what matters to him ain't important, because it's not going to help that a marriage be right. You get what I'm saying? So some marriages, a man could be rich, a wife don't got to do nothing. If you were to tell every woman that it should be like that, you go to rule that other man's house. That other man's house, he might work hard, but I mean, we both got to work in order to survive. It's things that could differ from marriage to marriage, and it's you got to stay in the ship that you in. You hear me? You in this ship. Don't worry about the other ship. Worry about what this ship got to do to stay afloat. You know, they might be in the right time to take vacations. We can't take vacations right now. You see what I mean? Let's focus on what we got and work through what we need. You get what I mean?
Right. Let's see. Who just came up here? Box 6. You had anything, box 6?
Box 7?
Well, I see box. I think box 6 is first, but what you got, box 7?
Okay. I want to ask you, do y'all know the difference in belief in the word believe and knowing?
And believe and knowing?
Uh-huh.
Yes, we know the difference between belief. So
Okay.
let me see. I will show you. Let me go to the scriptures for that. I'm gonna go to the book of Hebrews. So belief and faith is the same thing. Let me go to the book of Hebrews. Let's see, Hebrews chapter 11. And this is what the definition of belief is, which is also faith. So Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 1, it says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So when you believe in something, you can't see it, but you have faith that it's actually going to work out because you have done the necessary things to make it happen, right? So like, let's use, for example, somebody that's they want to go to school to be a doctor or whatever, right? They believe they can do it because they have the intellect to do it. You know, they have the willpower to do it. Now what they have to do is put forth the action to make sure it happens. Now, if I say I want to be a doctor and I don't put forth no action behind it, then my belief is just voided out. You know, it goes into a delusion now because I can't just, you know, be sitting at home doing nothing and say, hey, I want to be a doctor and I'm just going to walk into a hospital and start, you know, being a doctor and start practicing. So belief also comes with actions. So when we say we believe, we show forth our works, which is the action. So it's the same thing. It's synonymous with one another. Now you said,
so
go ahead.
And then the other word is knowing.
Okay, so knowing, that goes into you have the knowledge of something. Like you know how to build a house. You know, because you have actually studied how to lay bricks and how to, you know, put in pipings and install things. That's knowing. You actually have done the research for yourself to learn that. So that kind of, you know, it's kind of synonymous with also with belief. When you know something.
No, it's not.
Well, listen. So check it out, right? So what's the saying, real quick? Okay. What's the saying? When you know better, you what?
You do better, but you have to know. But if you believe,
right,
it's like you're not certain.
Right. So,
but if you know, then you know.
Right. So when it goes to belief again, so I think what people get of a belief off of a delusion. People are delusional out there thinking they can, you know, get something that they have no type of qualifications for, no capability of, and they think they're automatically going to receive it because maybe their merits say they can get it. Right. So it's a difference between what people think belief is and what a delusion is. A lot of people are just delusional.
Yeah, and I think that knowing is a tried belief, a belief that's been tested and proven.
Yes, you know, that you know.
Right.
But that's the same thing. You believe the things that you know. So when you know something, you believe it too. So belief is still not separated. You actually lived it. And you
but that's why he said what he said. Because it's like you start off with a belief of it, and it goes into that knowing. Not always. That's all it is, and then, but for the most part, that's why he was saying that is what as far as a reference to what he was saying that it starts out with a belief, and the more research you do, the more research you do. And everything else, and then it goes into knowing. That's true. Because you can just walk outside and a miracle can happen. Something you've never seen before happen. Now you know that can happen, and it was never a belief.
Yeah.
But it can't happen like that.
The next thing I wanted to ask was, What do you think abundance is?
Abundance. Abundance is having a wealth or plenty of something. So abundance can be abundance in spirituality. It could be abundance in knowledge. It can be it's a abundance in assets. You know, it doesn't have to be just money, but it could be anything that you deem important or valuable to you is what abundance is. Abundance of happiness.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Because what happened to me, my father was a real Muslim.
Wait, hold on, Boxer. We gotta let
You can continue.
Yeah.
I muted him.
Well, we're gonna get to you, Boxer.
So I look at abundance as the mind state.
A mind state.
Yes, that's the real abundance, because we have us chasing fiat and all that stuff, and we think that that's the real abundance. But if you slow down and actually like gain knowledge of certain things, then that's your real abundance. That's something that you can take with you forever.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm just adding on. I'm adding on from when y'all was talking about women don't like men or don't have money, or they might be in a certain situation or whatever, blah blah blah. But if I'm a type of woman. If you got abundance with your mind, you're very knowledgeable. Then that's money.
Yes, that's true.
That's money.
Yes.
And that was it. I just wanted to add on.
Okay. We definitely appreciate it. Definitely appreciate it.
It's on me.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, to what y'all was talking about earlier with the whole relationship thing. I think I kind of agree with what Walt was saying. A wise man once told me how I run my house may tear yours down.
Right.
And if I meet a brother, let's say he got a woman, and this woman already, when I'm gonna use it like this because it might trigger somebody, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Let's just say when he got out of prison, his woman was up. She was making $600,000 a year. She wasn't looking for a man that had no money. She was looking for a man to give her guidance, leadership, whatever the case may be. Maybe she just wanted him for whatever reasons that pleasure her. And if their relationship worked for them and she take care of everything and he wash the dishes, cook the food, and keep the kids, who the hell is anybody else to say anything about what they got going on? That's they, and they signed up for it. Now, it's unorthodox for sure. And it's not a cultural norm in America for it to walk like that. But at the same time, they in a situation and they happy. Who would be anybody else to try to talk to them and say, oh, nah, you need to make him work, or you need to do this, or vice versa. There's certain sisters out there, they don't want to stay home and take care of the kids and do the dishes. They want to go get the bag. You get what I'm saying?
What does the Bible have to say about that, though, Fire?
About what he's saying right here? Let's
Yes.
go to, let's see. Let's go to Genesis. Let's see.
3:16.
Yeah, that's all I was going to.
I know.
So what he's talking about is definitely biblical, and after that I'm gonna go to the book of Proverbs after that. So let's go Proverbs 3 and let's start at verse 16. So it says, unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. So when it's going into this right here, it's letting a woman know that with Eve, right, she wanted to be like the Most High. She wanted to rule over her man, is what was happening, right? So the Most High, he had humbled her and said, look, your desire is going to be towards your husband. So no matter what situation he may be in, that's going to be your desire, because you're created to be his helpmeet, to be his rib, to be his partner, right? So I'm going to double down on that. Let's go to the book of Proverbs, because the woman, a lot of people think that the woman was like not doing nothing, that she was just sitting back, kicking it, but that's not true. So this is Proverbs chapter 31, and I'm going to start at verse, let me see, let's start at verse verse 10. Proverbs 31 verse 10. And it says, who can find a virtuous woman? So that's a question. It says, who's going to find that, right? So we're going to read the characteristics of what it is to be a virtuous woman. For her price is far above rubies. When you're dealing with rubies, when you're dealing with diamonds, you're dealing with gems, these are rare and they're very precious. So a man that finds a virtuous woman has found a jewel, right? So it says, the heart of her husband doth safely trust in her. So her man is going to believe and trust in where he can turn his empire over to his woman, and she's going to correctly execute all of the things that need to be executed on that day. And that's if he's not around, if he's not there, right? So it says, so that he shall have no need of spoil. Meaning he's not going to just go to look for any type of side piece, no hoe or nothing like that, right? He's not going to look for some spoil. Verse 12, she will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. Now, this is the part right here, what the brother is talking about right here. She seeketh wool and flax and worketh willingly with her hands. So this is a woman that's about industry, that's about building, right? Again, she's a helpmeet. So she is going to seek clothing, material. She's going to start sewing. She's going to start putting together garments, fabric. She's going to be a clothing designer. She's going to do whatever her capability, whatever talent that the Most High has given her. She's going to use that for the embetterment of her household. Because we live in Babylon, right? And sometimes the woman, the wife, she may make more money than the husband. But now, does that mean now that the woman needs to little nigger her husband now? Not at all, right? She needs to say, you know what, that's my man, and in the end, you know, he's going to make these right decisions. So because we're trained up under a Western mindset, right, where they want the man to be making all the money, but that's not always the case. You can have a woman, she can have a great job, she can be a lawyer, a doctor, engineer, and that dude, he could be just a school teacher or whatever. He can be just a bus driver, right? But she's still going to be submissive to her man because she respects his authority as being that male figure, right? So let me read on. It says, she is like the merchant ship. She bringeth her food from afar, meaning she's going to go out to your Sprouts, your Whole Foods. She's going to go get food to bring back to her home to nourish and feed her family. It says, she riseth also while it is yet night and giveth meat to her household and a portion to her maidens. Meaning what? She's going to be doing meal prepping. This is what Big Mama used to do back in the days. I remember my grandma, right? She waking up early in the morning, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., right? She up here like soaking some beans, right? All preparing for the end of the day when everybody gets home from school, work, or whatever they're coming from, so she can feed her family. This is what you call a virtuous woman that we're reading about, not this Western mindset of women today, right? Let me read on. It says, she rises also while it is yet night and giveth meat to her household and a portion to her maidens. So it's letting you know right here that this virtuous woman, she has women that's underneath her that she gives directions in order to, right? So you got to look at it as like a business, right? You got the president, then you got the vice president, which is the wife, and then you got the people like the directors and the people that fall underneath that woman, right? So these are her maidens. She's now giving them orders. So everything is not just on her. It's working, the structure is working literally like a family business, what we're reading about. It says, she considereth a field and buy it. Look at that. We're talking about real estate right here. We got a woman like literally like that Yo Gotti song, I need a 5-star. We're talking about a 5-star woman right here. She looks at a field and she buyeth it. So she sees some house, some property, some land, and she buys it because she understands that it's going to be pleasing to her man, right? It says, she considereth a field and buyeth it. With the fruit of her hand, she planteth a vineyard. She girdeth her loins with strength and strengthened her arms. She perceiveth that her merchandise is good. Her candle goeth not out by night. She layeth her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the distaff. Again, that's going into her working with her hands again, right? Let me see. It says she stretcheth out her hand to the poor, meaning what? She's charitable, right? She believes in giving back, right? She does these things. It says, she reaches forth her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of the snow for her household. For all her household are clothed with scarlet. Scarlet in the ancient world, that's a very expensive material. So we see right here that this woman, she is a high value woman. She knows how to get out there and get it done for her family. Verse 22, she maketh herself coverings of tapestry. Her clothing is silk and purple, right? So this will be like your modern day Louis Vuitton, Gucci, right? She is able to make these things with her hands. It says she maketh fine linen and selleth it and delivereth girdle unto the merchant. So far, we done read about several different jobs that this woman has right here. Several high-paying jobs that this woman has, and she has people that she directs and she gives orders to. Verse 25, strength and honor are her clothing. That's important right there. Strength and honor are her clothing because she honors her husband. She understands that her strength comes from her husband because it's an order of things. You got the Most High, you have his son, Hamashiach Yahawashi, then you got man, woman, and child. So she understands the proper order, right? It says, strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. Verse 26, she openeth her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. So this is total opposite of what today's modern woman is. The modern woman today is not kind. She's not gentle. She's not soft. She's ready to just, she's like a pit bull almost, right? It's all about me, I. You know, the modern day woman today is independent when we're supposed to be interdependent, meaning we depend on one another. And this is what our forefathers and foremothers, they understood, right? Let me see, verse 27. She looketh well to the ways of her household and eateth not the bread of idleness. Meaning she's not just sitting back watching Zeus Network, right? Verse 28. Her children arise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praiseth her. Verse 29. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. Favor is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth the Most High, she shall be praised. So it goes back to what we've been talking about this whole time. Having that fear of the Most High. This woman fears the Most High, and this is what causes her to be praised. Last verse. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. So what we read is how sisters are supposed to be. They're supposed to take on the characteristics of this virtuous woman, where they're not just sitting back doing nothing and being idle. You know, they're getting out there and making it happen. But yeah, if anybody got something on that.
Amen. You know, God is spiritual. You know, a lot of times, man, we've been taught certain things that the Bible wants of a man and of a woman. You know, carnal, right? So a woman feel like a man's supposed to make all the money because she think he's supposed to be the provider, right? She thinks he's supposed to have a gun, be tough because they say he's supposed to be the protector, right? And that's where we got it mixed up because everything that God expected of us is the same thing that he expected of Adam and Eve. Money didn't even exist. Protection, God ain't worried about you being protected from a burglar. He worried about you being protected from the works of Satan. See, a murderer could break in, destroy your flesh, and you could still make it to heaven. But if the devil attack you and you become wicked, you're going to go to hell. God is worried about a different danger than we are sometimes. Provide is about instruction and direction, but we think it's about money.
Right.
See, because we attached it to what's carnal and not the spiritual.
Right.
See, if I got a direction for our family and I can keep us from stumbling and falling, that's the provision that God cares about the most, because he told us to be content with food in our stomach and clothes on our back. Right? Not to mistake gain for godliness. So you think, hey, because we have the gain, then that must mean we godly, and that's totally incorrect. You know, our carnal provisions that we must meet for each other, we have to come up with what that means within our marriage. But the things that God wants, that he expects no matter what, these things have to do with the family being righteous in his eyesight.
Right. Right. And, you know, hey, you know, relationships, they're hard, they're tough. But this is the reason why we have to, literally, pray and fast on relationships. We want them to work. That's the problem. People are so quick to just kind of give up on something because they're not seeing the results fast enough. That's one thing that we have to learn is the fruits of the spirit, and it's patience. We got to be patient with one another. Not be so quick just to dismiss somebody. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Joe.
So, would you say that would you say a woman should be patient, no matter how long it takes, no matter even if she doesn't have a like a actual like view of how long that is, or she doesn't foresee like whatever in the future of like where this goes, she should be patient.
Okay, let me see. Let me go to
And
the
just
book
like,
of
or do you?
Yeah. It's different ways of being patient, right? If you saying I got somebody that I'm with and I'm trying to be patient for him to change, that's different from saying I'm single and I'm gonna be patient before bringing somebody into my life, right? If you really got the patience to be single without trying to ask.
So I'm saying it on the forms of being patient, like you don't have somebody that you with, but you have some potential or whatever, and being patient on that person to get it together.
See, it's the thing about that person that, make it complicated.
I want to see what he's going to say about what it's saying.
Okay, yeah, so I was going to pull up on the book of Isaiah, chapter 40 and verse 31, because we just read out of about a virtuous woman, and it talked the last verse of last, it talks about the woman fearing the Most High, So let me read this. This is Isaiah chapter 40 and verse 31. It says, "But they that wait upon the Most High shall renew their strength." So it's not always on our timing; it's on the Most High's timing. And if you wait and be patient, then the Most High is going to renew your vitality. He's going to renew your strength. He's going to renew you. And let me read on. It says, "They shall mount up with wings as eagles," meaning you're going to be soaring and flying when you don't just be so impulsive and ready just to give up on something or leave or whatever it may be, right? Not just being impulsive about things. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. So the key thing on this verse right here is patience, and that's something that a lot of people we lack. We lack patience and we lack discernment, but that patience is so important. And a woman that's virtuous, she is going to understand this because she fears the Most High, and she knows that's part of the spirit of the Most High is that patience. That's part of that virtue.
Hey, I want to say something. I want to say this. I want to say, when you got your sights on a particular person, you put blinders on. But the thing that we do now is we over-sexualize friendships.
Yes.
Where every person that you come in contact with it's like y'all try to present the best side of yourself to that person because it's pressure on if this person like me or not. But if we were to just be able to have friends, you could find out which friends have godly attributes. You could take a look at their character. I could be friends with you and I could say you answer the phone and lie to your mama. You answer the phone for your job and lie to your boss. Guess what? You a liar. See, if I just meet you and I get your number, but you think I like you, then all my focus is on you. I'm thinking, okay, she lying to me now, but will she ever become a truthful person? But that all depend on you, and then I feel like I wasted my time. So if we were able to have friends where you could meet different people and see who has those godly characters, who feel guilty and remorseful when they do what's wrong. If you could get to know a person like that, then you could say this person is a potential husband and this person is a potential husband, and look at it from a different scope.
Right. Seven, you got something, Seven? Auntie Box 8. What's up? What you got for us?
I'm just listening tonight.
Okay. How you feeling
I'm
tonight?
just getting home from work, so I'm just getting situated in the house and stuff. But I did want to say I've been in a few relationships and stayed for the potential, and it never works out. And that's just my input on that little topic real quick. Because I always feel like I can change the person, or I can bring out the best in the person. But if that person isn't doing what they need to do to seek the best in themselves, then it's not gonna work. Who are you now?
Oh, I muted him. What? You got something for me?
He's asleep.
Oh, he's asleep. Okay, I didn't know he was asleep.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, he's asleep, Shonda. I didn't realize he was asleep. He would be sleeping on Bigo. Let me see YouTube, Facebook. Y'all quiet tonight. I'm gonna let y'all go tonight. YouTube and Facebook.